and we are talking about leadership and experiences. I think the most interesting part of my story is during National Assembly. We all know that my nomination was revoked at the National Assembly. I think this was in 2019, and the matter was taken to the Supreme Court. This decision I made because I felt we came from a 22-year-old dictatorship where we saw President Jammeh was doing the same thing by booting out National Assembly members that he nominated when he doesn't feel like they're supporting his agenda. The same thing actually happened between me and President Barrow, and he made the same attempt, and I felt it was my responsibility to straighten the story and not to allow the Gambia to slide back into dictatorship. Because we all know the role of Parliament is scrutinizing the executive. If the executive has the power to dismiss the parliamentarian, then the whole purpose of scrutiny would be defeated. This was the reason why I decided to take the matter to court, and I was booted out of Parliament for 11 months. We were fighting this battle in court, and a lot of things happened in between. And then I was only 28 years old, and I felt 29 years old, I think. And I felt I was targeted probably because I was young, I was a woman, and I decided to fight back. It was a tough fight. It wasn't easy. I've been intimidated in all sorts of ways. And I remember when the president actually sent me the letter on Friday. Parliament received the letter on Friday. I was not at work on that Friday because I had no committee meetings. I was supposed to, then I was the chair of the trade committee. We were supposed to have a meeting on Tuesday. And I attended this meeting. And before I attended the meeting, I wrote back to the president advising him to advise himself that he has no powers, absolutely none, given the Constitution, to revoke my nomination. I attended the meeting. I was chairing the meeting. The rest of the meeting were male parliamentarians. And by then I understand it was the finance minister, and he was called to attend this meeting. And I saw the male parliamentarians exiting the meeting one by one. And later on the next day, I had no meeting the next day, so I didn't go. I had the president send the security forces to wait for me at the parliament. Luckily, I didn't go. So I said before fighting, let's go to the law, and the law will decide. So I remember anytime there's a court case, there will be paramilitaries from Denton Bridge to the courthouse. There was a day that I was even stopped from entering the courthouse because the security officers didn't recognize me. And when I told them, look, it's me, Kumba, Jaiteh, and they were like, yo, hallelujah. That was their reaction. But the fight was worth it. I think that fight, when we won at the Supreme Court, was a wake-up call for the president, for the government, that Gambians will not go back to a dictatorship, that every wrong decision would be challenged, that people would protect this democracy, and I think it has worked out for us. So this is the little experience since we have 5 minutes and we are still fighting. I am the Deputy Administrative Secretary of the United Democratic Party. I sit on the executive. We are still pushing for women in leadership, and I've told Auntie Nene that I'm a big fan of her, and I am happy that she's joining on the trail. We need to see more women, particularly educated women. Because I've noticed one thing, that there is a dearth of educated women in politics in the Gambia. And if we don't get involved in politics, we are not going to be part of the leadership. Because leadership starts from politics. Politicians make the decisions that affect our lives. People in parliament, people in the executive decide on the taxes we pay, decides on the type of education our children are going to receive in schools, decides on the cost of living. So it's important that we join the show. Thank you very much.